After I posted a couple of my videos from battles from Final Fantasy XIV Realm Reborn, I have been asked a ton of questions regarding my user interface and the way I set up hotbars so that I get to keep up with keyboard and mouse users and avoid frustrating situations which are inherited with playing with the gamepad, especially in an MMORPG of this specific style of gameplay. So, let's start from the basics. What is the cross hotbar? The cross hotbar is a system in place that allows for users of gamepad to dynamically customize their skills and amongst other things like items, actions, and overall just pretty much any action that you would be able to macro in. You could pretty much macro it in and still put it in your hotbar or directly insert it into your hotbars. The cross hotbar is exclusive to gamepad users and can only be accessed by either emulating a gamepad or playing with the gamepad itself. Right now I am playing the PC version of the game, as you can probably make out by the mouse and keyboard menu right here on the right lower side of the screen and the hotbar present. Right now I'm on my ninja class, and as you can see I have my cross hotbar full of skills. However, these are not the maximum number of skills that ninja can use. A lot of people actually avoid using more than 8x2 sets of skills, which equals one cross hotbar, because it's a frustrating mess in the default controllers to change between set 1 and 2, especially on the PS4 controller, which isn't that comfortable at first. So a lot of people have common complaints with switching between sets 1, 2, and so on and so forth. However, I use a different method. Right now, as you can see, I have set 1, 2, and 8 with stuff equipped in them. Set 1 is for pretty much anything DPS related, and my set 2 is pretty much defensive buffs, limit break, and my hide and hide related skills on the left side with the directional buttons. But that's irrelevant right now. While my weapon is sheathed, or aka I am not in combat, I only have access to set 1. As you can see, I'm tapping R1 and it doesn't automatically switch any sets. However, when I go into battle mode, I can immediately switch to my second set with a simple touch of a button. By tapping the R1 button, I can switch between set 1 and 2 and access all the skills that my ninja has to offer. This could also be applied to set 1, 2, 3, 4 subsequently until you have all your hotbars filled, but there's no reason why you would have that. So, in a stressful situation, a lot of the common complaints that I've heard from friends and from company members are that they accidentally bumped the wrong button, and instead of using a skill, they switch their sets, or instead of switching their sets, they accidentally use a skill. So, to avoid this, I configured my hotbars in a way that I only need to tap R1 to switch between them, which is great for, rapid usage of skills. It's really simple. And let's show you how to do that. First of all, go to character configuration and hotbar settings. Here is where all your settings related to hotbars will be minus positioning. As you can see, I have my options here, but these are not the options I used. I actually defaulted almost this whole section for the sake of teaching you how to do it. For my display of set 1 and 1, 2, when the weapon is drawn, all you have to go is character configuration, hotbar settings, cross hotbar settings, and come here to where it says enable customization for when weapon is drawn, You tag this little part, and then you tag this little checkbox, and you configure with all the hotbars you may want when you're sheeted and combat mode. As you can see, my set 1 right here doesn't have any shadow or highlight behind it, but if I switch to my set 8, it's highlighted. This means it's a shared cross hotbar. Here you can also check that my PC hotbar number 2 is shared, and if I had numbers displayed on 3, 2, and 1 and so on and so forth, you could also see that all of them are shared between all of my classes. This eliminates the frustration of having to configure any set hotbar from scratch every time you switch classes. As you can see, my hotbar 8 is shared, my hotbar 1 is not shared, so let's switch to Paladin. Hotbar 1 completely changed, hotbar 8 remains unchanged. This used to be my basic movement hotbar before I switched to the horizontal hotbars for movement related stuff and food and social stuff, combat stuff like targets to attack and yada yada, because I actually play Gamepad and I use a smaller keyboard that's attached to my desk, in which I can just tag with my pinkies to do, you know, basic stuff like tagging stuff in the middle of battle. But that's irrelevant. Let's go back to what really matters and the reason why I made this video. A lot of my friends and guild buddies usually play pet classes, Summoner, Scholar, Arcanist, whatever may come out in the future as well that involves pets. And one of the most frustrating situations when playing with the gamepad is having to mandatorily go between your hotbars by holding down the R1, which you can configure as well in the hotbar menu. But this is the biggest Achilles heel that people find themselves with, is that the hotbar, the default hotbars come with the use pet hotbar clicked on. What this means is every time you have your pet out, you will automatically tab, and by tab I mean you will tab into your pet hotbar by just tapping the R1 button. So let's show you what I mean. I summoned my pet Eos. As you can see, still have all my hotbars all the same, but on the gamepad default settings, when you tap the R1 button, it automatically goes into your pet menu. A lot of people prefer this menu, however, I don't, and a lot of the people that I associate with don't either, because of this little problem. When you're in your pet hotbar, you actually have a set plus, and what this means is it's an unmodifiable hotbar which you cannot change out of until you tap R1 back to change you back to your previous hotbars. So if you want to use a pet action such as Embrace and then switch to for example my cross hotbar 2 to DPS in the middle of a dungeon, there's going to be issues because when I tap the R1 button, it's gonna switch me to my pet hotbar. So to avoid frustrations like these, I set up my hotbar like so. Hotbar, cross, use pet hotbar disable, and then you make a second or third hotbar just dedicated to stuff related to your pet. Let me go right here. This is another very useful, very useful option that you can choose to check in. Enable auto hotbar switching when drawing and sheeting weapon. I'm going to show you a direct example of how useful this is in many other situations. Right now, I have my weapon sheeted, which means I'm no longer in combat. I go to my third hotbar, I am going to summon my pet, and the game will automatically change me into my set 1 while placing me in combat stance, like so, which immediately gives me access to not only my basic healing hotbar for the pet, but my healing as well as a player. And now that I'm in combat mode, all I need to do is just tap R1 and quickly change into what I need to do. If I need to heal, tap R1, I'm back in DPS mode. And for me at least, it's much easier than manually switching all of them. I made my third hotbar to be a pet specific command hotbar to replace the pet hotbar by itself, because all of these options, you rarely use them more than twice or once per battle, especially in the middle of battle. These are my PvP actions, which are also unavailable, and the reason being I'm not in PvP right now. But these will light up and be usable in the midst of PvP, and I can just easily switch over to them by tapping R1 and the X button. So they don't really need to be put in the automatic tap hotbars like I have configured. And this is the most important part. My EOS skills are all here, easy to use on my first hotbar in accommodation with my healings. So let's say I'm healing someone, I can also just easily switch over to the other trigger and just give my pet the order to do whichever needs to be done, really. This can also be applied to other classes such as Summoner with your own pet actions like Garuda, with Contagion specifically, and the summoning. As you can see, my third set has the summons, but as soon as I switch to combat, that completely disappears, and I can freely just tap between all my skills without having to suffer the frustration of going accidentally into the third set. Now, another cool thing you can do with this, and by this I mean playing in Gamepad mode, is on the PC version, and I believe the PlayStation 4 version also got this update not long ago. You can use your menu mouse mode, which is this menu right here on the bottom right, which does exactly the same thing as the default gamepad menu that comes when you select the gamepad. As you can see, the menu blocks all of the screen completely doesn't let me use any of my hotbars because it takes them out of focus. So on the PlayStation 4 and on the PC, I believe you have access to the mouse mode type menu, which is exactly this menu, in which I can press start and have the menu on focus while still maintaining total control of my hotbar. I can circle up and down on the menu and still use skills while I'm doing so. I know this is a very situational and very specific little thing, but just having the option to do so proves that Gamepad isn't exactly that unintuitive that you need to completely avoid it, or players who are bound to play with the Gamepad. Now, you must be wondering, why do I have my classes set up over here and how do I do it? Well, it's very simple actually. You go into character configuration, hotbars, sharing. First of all my horizontal ones and my vertical ones are shared. So these are shared between all my classes. As you can see, little number background is highlighted as well. And the only shared hotbar I have on cross hotbar is my cross hotbar 8. And then you go through vertical hotbars 7, 8, 9, and 10. You place them here by going on the HUD layout, and you pull them all the way over and you manage them however you want. And then you just hide the unassigned slots so that these empty squares don't show up and don't overcome your UI as a whole. As you can see, hotbar 3 is also highlighted, hotbar 2 is also background highlighted. Once again, I'll show you very slowly what I use. You can also put your pet hotbars like so by using another option, and I know I was delayed in mentioning it, which is the enable expanded controls with L1, L2 and R2 as well. Now this is a funny system because it actually allows you to put two hotbars into one. So let's say you have a very specific pet hotbar in let's see, cross hotbar 3 left, which is my summoner one, and cross hotbar 2 left as well, just because of contagion right here. Now let's apply. I click Alt L2 and I click R2. It shows me my, as you can see, set 3 and set 2. Now this is dependent on which button you click first. So if you click first L2 and then you click R2, it shows you the one on the left. And if you click R2 and then L2, it shows the one on the right. This can be useful for PvP actions, and I actually got very accustomed to using, using just the one on the left and inputting my PvP actions all into it. But right now I'm not going to use it because I was explaining the other mechanics. So yeah, I switch classes. I can easily access all my hotbars, and when I take my weapon out, I can pretty much just switch like this. Or if I'm running towards an enemy and I use a buff before going into battle, it automatically switches me to set 1 in battle mode. And for now, those are all the tips I have to give you in regards to gamepad usage. If you have any other questions, feel free to private message me on YouTube or find me in game. I play on Sargatana server, or you can just message me on Lodestone or anything. I'll be more than happy to upload my own configuration file and just let you pretty much import it into your own PC version of the game. And yeah, that's it. Have a nice day and enjoy.